Something that I've noticed that all male narcissists do when in relationships is they like to triangulate people to make them insecure. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say a male narcissist is talking to a new woman, okay? He may constantly talk very well and very highly of another woman from his past in order to put this new woman in a mental competition with her for his affection. That way she'll work harder and feel like she's in a competition for his love. He may even make up things or, embellish what the other woman did for him in order to make this woman feel like she's not enough. A lot of them do badmouth their exes, but some of them will use the ex to do that. If they have a significant ex, they will just talk about her in a way that they know will make this newer woman insecure and feel like, well, what does she have that I don't? And they're creating this sense of triangulation to keep you insecure and make you feel like you can't win. When the reality is they don't care about her, and they probably don't care about you either because they're incapable of caring on that level. You're both just chess pieces that they're moving around and having a good time with and playing a game with. But remember that next time you feel a man trying to put you in competition with another woman, whether it's an ex-fling, an ex-girlfriend, or a girl best friend.
Narcissistic men love to triangulate women. They like to turn women against one another. They like to tell the new woman what the other woman did not do in an attempt to manipulate her into allowing him to groom her into his perfect next victim. A lot of the times, too, the other woman could know this man like the back of her hand. And if he convinces you to hate her, he can evade all accountability for all the types of things he did in the relationships that were ill-willed, that were disgusting, and would not make him a good fit for you. A lot of the times, he don't want y'all to be cordial. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with another man's baby mama and stuff like that, and he won't even let you meet her. He wants you to feel like she's crazy, she's this, she's that, and stuff. A lot of these men will intentionally provoke their baby mamas and their exes and stuff to get into it with you by trying to cause a riffraff. Like, I'll use myself as an example. I had an ex that did that to me. When we first got together, he had 2 children. I had none, right? Yeah, I know. Not saying that being with someone with children is a horrible thing, but you have to do a lot of research and just protect yourself, because everybody's circumstances is different. But the man would try to make it seem like his ex was all this and that and the third. She broke his heart. She did all of these horrible things to him. And although maybe the things were true, he never told his side of the story and what caused her to do those things. And, in his mind, he was one of those guys that, okay, you broke up with me, but in my mind, we're taking a break because, I don't want to take no for an answer. You belong to me. You're my property. He was one of those. So if she broke up with him and she moved on, that's considered cheating. Some men are delusional like that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't mention that he didn't work, that he was lazy, and he was a bum while he was with her. You ever seen that movie? I can't think of it, but I think it was with Taraji P. Henson. She stayed down with that man, and he ain't had 2 quarters. She got tired, and after she got tired, he got on. That's how that situation was for me, child. But yeah, it would be nice if women could get along and actually communicate. What happened in the relationship, if you don't mind me asking? Don't make that the initial thing. But I think that the ex could tell you a lot of things. I also know a woman who got with somebody's husband before they were fully divorced. They were just split together, and the wife told that woman to run. And the woman thought somebody was hating on her. That man ran her to the ground and then underneath it. So be careful.
Hey y'all, I'm back with another video, and in this one I wanted to cover the topic of triangulation. And this is something that is a psychological manipulation tactic that is often employed in relationships when you are in a relationship with a narcissist. Like, one of the key indicators that you are in a relationship with a narcissist is oftentimes that they use this triangulation on you all the time, right? And how many times men specifically will instill fear and intimidation in their significant other by using triangulation and creating this invisible competition with other women. It could be other women on the street. It could be exes, friends, coworkers, family members. I mean, I've even seen them do this with celebrities or social media figures. Like, y'all know the man that makes it a point to gush over video models or female celebrities that look nothing like their girlfriends or wives, like as if they even have a chance of being in the same room as these women, like men who openly gawk at other women, like they do it with no shame, like right in front of their girlfriend or wives. They go out of their way to make it a point to do that. Those are the kind of men I'm talking about, right? And sometimes they even use entire groups of women to triangulate you with, like the kind of men who are obsessed with comparing different races of women. Like they will compare black women to white women, or Latinas or Asians, like, or anyone of the opposite complexion or phenotypes. Like they will make those comparisons. And this is a key tactic to create division and make their partners feel insecure. And a real life example of this recently played out on social media on one of Joe Budden's podcasts. And by now, I'm sure a lot of y'all have maybe seen the viral clip floating around, and it's involving this black male podcaster being embarrassed by his white girlfriend, saying that she would absolutely make him sign a prenup to protect her assets and money that's reserved for her kids from her previous marriage. So this clip has been like floating around the last couple of days, and people have been discussing like how this guy went into the conversation thinking, oh yeah, like, no, we don't need a prenup, and she probably makes more than me, like I would never make her sign a prenup. And then he assumed they were going to be on the same page about it, and she just looked at him and was like, no, like I would definitely make you sign a prenup. And everyone else on the podcast kind of laughed, and there were other couples there that also agreed with the girlfriend that, yeah, like it makes sense. Like what she's saying made sense. But the guy was looking shocked. Like he really couldn't believe that, right? Well, if that clip wasn't bad enough, I was made aware by way of the nosy bystander on TikTok. I was made aware of an extended version of this conversation where the lead up to the convo was shared. And I want to take a listen because this is a really key component of triangulation. So let's take a listen, and I'm going to come back with some thoughts.
Now, mind you, he was saying all of this before he found out she wasn't going to give him none of her money.
Because you could be black and marry an African. Culturally, all completely different. They stay black. So I think the whole cultural shit, it's funny because we saying Dr. Umar said some shit I seen online recently where he was like, one of the problems that black women have that white women don't is a white woman will be there with you helping build and mold and shape the man into who he wants to become. Black women want their man perfect from step one. They want him to be this height. They want him to have this amount of money. They want him to drive this car. They want him to dress like this. They want that shit pre-made. But they don't want to put the work into helping build the black man. So what happens is, like all of us from our community, all the black people that come from our community, we need help. We start to find that people who have different cultural understandings of how to build family looks completely different.
I just love her face because she knew she was about she knew she was about to cut it up real quick. And I was actually able to find this full episode. It's on Joe Budden's network on YouTube. This episode is called Podwives, or this episode is from the podcast Podwives, titled Hard Pillow to Swallow. I just think it's so funny, like watching before she cut it up and told him he wasn't going to get none of her kids' money that she had received from her divorce settlement, to hearing how he was just denigrating black women, like essentially. And then that quote he said he got from Umar Johnson, like, oh, Umar said, black women, they don't build their man up. White women, they build their man up. Blase Skip, right? And he's saying this because he thinks like this is like, she's not moving. Her face, whoever this woman is, I needs to know who she is because her face is so stoic. She's like, you're yip yapping. I don't care. She doesn't seem like she wants to be there. She just seems like, this is what I think. Okay, let me start from the top. This is what I think her dynamic is. I think she saw this man and was just like, you know what? Let me just have a little fun with him. And then he realized how much money she had. And now he's dragging her to all of these things. He's talking like as if this is his wife. Keep in mind, neither of these two are married. So he's just dragging her along these podcast episodes and doing all these interviews and all this other stuff. And she's just like, I was just gonna sleep with you a couple times, and now I'm stuck doing these podcast episodes and wooty woo and blase skip. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, he's messing up her game because her face doesn't move this entire full episode. Her face literally doesn't move. She could literally care less what kind of crap is coming out of this man's mouth, because I think that she's very solid in who she is. She doesn't seem like she wants a ring. She doesn't seem like she wants to be married. She simply seems like she got on a ride and somehow she forgot how to get off, or she hasn't quite got off yet. And also, it seems like she's just so unmoved by him because she knows that in maybe a month or two, maybe a year or two, she'll find somebody else to play around with. Like, this guy doesn't realize that he is just someone to lay next to at night. But the way that she acts on this entire episode, she could literally care less.
Okay, now do y'all see how the guy talking had to talk down on the women of his own race to uplift another race of women? And y'all, thank God for TikTok, because I can't be bothered to listen to those kind of podcasts in full. But what immediately stood out to me in that extended clip was that this guy was exercising typical narcissistic triangulation tactics to make his point. And in this case, he didn't use a specific woman to triangulate his girlfriend against. He instead used like sweeping generalizations to compare one race of women against another, disparaging Black women as like selfish, gold digger archetypes, and framing white women as like more understanding, uplifting types that are willing to build their man up. And as he said, making it seem like white women have no issue being Barbara the Builders. Like, that's essentially what he's saying. Like, oh, they don't have any issue building their man up, you know? And the whole time, I can tell his girlfriend is not feeling this conversation. Like, she isn't nodding her head in agreement or taking any of this as a compliment. So it's no surprise to me that following this combo, she made it clear that he wasn't going to get any of her kids' money. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the wheels were turning in her head, like, as this whole conversation was playing out. Like, yeah, no, I'm definitely getting a prenup. And y'all, these type of men employ triangulation tactics of pitting other races of women against each other as a means of control. It's psychological manipulation, right? The intent is to get you to be untrusting of other women, to see them as your competition, to not listen to them, right? When they try to warn you about things, you know, putting in your head, oh, they're just jealous of you. Oh, they want to be you. Oh, they're probably, you know, just mad because you're with me. You got me and they're alone. Meanwhile, when the abuse starts, when he starts treating you poorly, and then you start thinking like, oh, like this doesn't seem right, you don't bother to seek them out for advice. You don't bother to go to other women because you've been made in your head to, you've been manipulated to so much that you've been made to feel like they're untrustworthy anyway. And you view them through the lens of, oh, they're just jealous of me. They want my life. They want to be me. Not realizing that you have been set up to think that way, right? And all they end up doing is building them up to make them feel like they're superior for embodying all of these subservient mule-like qualities and telling you, oh, I love you so much for being easier to walk all over than this other race of women, right? But then when they are in their devalue and discard phase, they start openly disrespecting you again by flirting and cheating with you with the same group of women that they claimed you were better than, right? Do you see how like that ends up messing with your head as a woman when you had someone building you up, right, over time, like gassing your head up with all of these superficial compliments that aren't even actual compliments to like your character or your beauty or who you are as an individual. It's all about how well you serve them and how good that you make them look, right? Only to then have them later discard you and wind up with the same woman that they once said that you were better than, right? Like, that's definitely like the ultimate way of effing with somebody's mind, I'm not gonna lie. And this is how the mind of the narcissist work, y'all. So ladies, please do not fall for this kind of manipulation. Be mindful of these signs when someone is trying to pit you against someone else or trying to see what you will do or say to make yourself stand out, right? All of these are manipulation tactics. Someone asking you what you bring to the table or how you're going to be better than the last woman or what their ex, comparing you to their ex, like that's somebody that's wanting you to start competing for their love. So definitely don't fall for that. Be mindful of these signs. And now we're going to get into some other signs and tactics of triangulation and within relationships. So stay tuned.
Triangulation by a narcissist is absolutely brutal, and this is how it starts. From the beginning, the narcissist is trying to passive aggressively show you how desirable they are. This can come in the form of talking about how their ex is still obsessed with them. This can come in the form of pointing out all the people who are flirting with them around you. They are purposely trying to make you jealous. When you're in a triangulation with somebody, the narcissist is at the top of the triangle and they are pitting you against somebody else. Why is this? It's because it makes you fight for them more. It makes you give them more attention. You are more likely to serve them. You're more likely to give into their demands because you are jealous and competing with this other person. They can triangulate you against an ex that you will never meet, and a lot of times they lie about just how good or bad it was. Well, my ex cooked dinner for me every night, why don't you? Or the reverse of that is my ex paid all this attention to other guys on Instagram and now I'm insecure, so I have to be insanely controlling over you. Now you're in a position of the hero complex, the savior complex. I'm going to prove to this person that not all women are like that. I'm going to show them love. I'm going to show them what they never had before. And that's the moment you are falling for the manipulation that the narcissist wanted you to fall for by triangulating you in the first place. Triangulation brings out a competitive streak in the victim that they might have not even known that they had, and it can be very appealing to try to win the love of the narcissist when you're competing with somebody else. But the truth is, the narcissist is actually dangling the carrot of their love in front of you and telling you, jump, do tricks, you're not good enough yet. If you don't do what I want, I'm gonna leave you for this other person. You do not have to compete for love. You do not have to do tricks like a dog for love. You're worthy just the way that you are. You should not be in a relationship where you are constantly being compared to the entire world.
Okay, y'all, I just had to interject really quick to point out that this woman is speaking all facts. How she said they will use strangers to triangulate you with, like pretending as if people are flirting with them and they clearly are not. And I mentioned this in the Girl That Man Is Jealous of You video, how my first boyfriend, when we were out, sometimes he would act like other women were staring at him, like they wanted him, right? And I remember one time he even was like, oh, this guy at the gym, like he was trying to hit on me. And I'm like, what? Like he would do stuff like that. You know, he would talk about his ex still wanting to be with him. And he claimed one of his ex-girlfriends proposed to him. And like, he would just say like all of these things that would make you feel like, okay, you clearly want me to see you as someone that's more desirable than what you are. And I will never forget, there was one time where we had like a little like playful argument, like it was nothing serious. And he faked like he was storming out of the room. Like we were in the kitchen and he faked like he was storming out of the room. And I just stood at the stove like, okay. I was continuing to make my breakfast, y'all. And he came back into the kitchen and he was like, oh, like you didn't run after me. And I'm like, why would I do that? You know what I mean? And y'all, I was young at the time. Like I was like 20, 21 at the time. So I really didn't know any better. But all of the red flags were there of him being a narcissist, of him being someone that was really, really insecure and really, really wanted me to feel like he was the prize and that I needed to just go along with whatever he said. And yeah, it didn't work.
Triangulation can happen when the narcissist brings in a third party to put against you. So basically, this third party is somebody that is going to be on the narcissist team, and it's going to make you look like the bad person. They're going to gang up against you. So in a case where a narcissist brings another woman in to triangulate you, that can be because the narcissist is trying to create jealousy, right? So this happens a lot of the times with the narcissist's new supply. The narcissist will tell the new supply of how terrible their ex was and all the terrible things that you did to them, and how you broke their heart and cheated on them, and just basically tell the new supply all these lies, most likely things that the narcissist did to you. The narcissist will then also feed the new supply with lies, saying how you're trying to reach out to them, how you have been harassing them, how you keep texting them, all sorts of things. And then the new supply is going to view you as a bad person. So then the new supply is going to start harassing you. The new supply is going to go after you. Why are you talking to my man? Stay away from him, blah, blah, blah. If you've ever seen the show Snapped, right, and you see where people are in like a love triangle, and maybe the new supply snaps on the old supply and does some crazy stuff, like possibly unalive them, that can be how dangerous these situations can go. The narcissist can make it so the new supply believes you are a threat, you are a danger, and you have to be eliminated. So yes, triangulation is one of the most dangerous things that the narcissist can do to you, one of the most dangerous situations that they can place you in. And this doesn't even have to just happen with romantic relationships. This can happen in the workplace. This can happen between family members. This is basically a tactic used to gang up on you and make you the oddball out. When you are triangulated, you are often the subject of bullying and harassment.
I'm going to tell you a story time about an incident where my ex that has NPD was triangulating me against his ex-girlfriend and was using that to make me feel unvalued, insecure, and crazy. Now, I moved in with him very, very quickly, like 3 months after knowing this guy, and I was like so excited. I was only 20 years old at the time and he was 33, so there's like already a power imbalance there. Also, I'm 28, creeping up to 33. There is absolutely no way in hell I would ever go for someone that's 20 years old. I'm not even 33 yet. I cannot imagine going for someone that young. Like, that is just crazy to me now that I'm like getting older and seeing things for what they really were. Crazy. Besides the point. Moved in with him within 3 months of knowing him. He invited me to move in with him and I was like so excited. I was like, yes, let's do this. I felt like I was in a grown relationship, And when I moved in, there was still a whole bunch of like women's stuff in his apartment, and he basically straight up was like, yeah, a lot of my like ex-girlfriend stuff is here, and like other girls like things, I just haven't like gotten around to getting rid of them. And I was like, okay, that's fine, like whatever, as long as like everything's over, then you can just get rid of the stuff. So long went by, he never got rid of the stuff. He left it up to me to do, which is also like disrespectful in the sense of like, why would you make me go through this other woman's stuff? It's just like, it's a bit disrespectful, you know what I mean? And I had to get rid of things that were really uncomfortable, including like bedroom toys, her underwear, like all of this inappropriate stuff that I should never have even seen, like was left up to me and was also really triggering. Like I was getting bothered by it. I was like, I don't need to see this stuff, like, so there's like things like that were, making me feel insecure. And there was an instance where when I had just moved in, I didn't have all of my stuff. I didn't have any shampoo or conditioner of my own, like it was all fresh. And I needed to wash my hair one night, and his ex-girlfriend still had the shampoo and conditioner there. And it was very obvious a woman's shampoo and conditioner. It was like floral and pink and really girly. And I was like, look, I'll just use it one time and then I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to go buy my own. Now I had brought up to him the fact that I was uncomfortable with this. I was just like, like it just feels a bit icky. It felt like I was just living in another woman's apartment, essentially, like with all of her stuff around me. It felt like a ghost. It was bizarre. And so he knew I felt uncomfortable about washing my hair, right? Then the next day when I got back from work, we went to the rooftop of his apartment building, which had like little picnic tables, and we were eating Subway. And he was sitting on the picnic table and I was kind of sitting on the, like in between his legs, facing out on the picnic seat, right? And it was like pretend I'm him and my head's here, we're both facing you, and he would like rest his head on the top of my head, right? And we went silent for a moment after we finished speaking, and he just took the deepest intentional inhale of my hair and made a point to explain how much he loved the smell of my hair. And I was just like, why would you do that? And he played it off like it wasn't a big deal, but this is exactly how a narcissist secretly devalues you right in front of your face and you don't even know it. It immediately made me feel insecure. It immediately made me feel like he was triggered by the scent of a memory of his ex-girlfriend and was thinking of her instead of me. And that is all a part of their strategy to push you closer to them. They use your insecurities, and by comparing you to other women, especially exes of theirs, to try and get you to prove your worth to them. Now, anyone that hasn't experienced a narcissist, you're probably not going to understand. Consider yourself lucky. But this is exactly what they do. And you don't even realize it at the time, because it can be played off to be something innocent, and you can be made out like you're the one that's crazy, you're overreacting, you're just being insecure. That's how it's played off. And that's what you believe. But you still have all of these conflicting feelings inside of you because they're succeeding in the abuse. Anyway, so there was things like that were constantly done. But that's just like another memory that I could think of now about how he would just triangulate me with her. And it was insane. It was insane. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue these little story times about like moments that I remember that kind of went under the radar at the time, like all these little red flags. There's also lots of red flags I can remember. Things like he would never say sorry, ever. He would say sorry here and there at the beginning of the relationship, and it was very like performative. He would never be able to understand what he was sorry, like articulate what he was sorry for. He could never understand why I had been upset or what he had said or done made me upset. Like, that's a massive red flag. Healthy people know how to say sorry, and they have empathy, not cognitive empathy like narcissists do. Another thing was even just manners. Like, this one gets quite overlooked, just manners in general. Like, I noticed for a while when we had started dating, he would never say thank you, please. And there was like, I was finding myself repeatedly saying, can you, like when he would tell me to do something, I would say, can you use your manners? Can you say please? And I remember this one time we were in the car leaving the apartment building, and the gate wasn't working. So he's like, can you get out and open that thing? And I was like, can you say please? And he's like, what? Do I have to say please every time? And I said, yes, every single time you ask me to do something, it's manners. You ask somebody politely. So things like that, like at the time I was just like, oh, like whatever, like he just doesn't have manners. Red flag. Like, I wish I had the skill set to identify how all of these things add up. And now they all make sense. But anyway, all my love.